Isn't the lighting nice? We'll see who shows up. If anyone, at this odd hour, odd time stamp, frequency, wherever we are. What's good, people? Daniel Benson, happy 24 hours to you as well. You know what, next time, Daniel Benson, can we do it in minutes? And then next time we'll do it in seconds. If it's 24 hours times 60 minutes, then we'll play that one. But yes, happy spinning of the moon and sun above our strange world we live on. What's up, Supreme Gene? What's up, GP Duran? And Daniel Drury, always a pleasure to see you. So I figured, I don't know, man, you know, like I said, lately, whoever's been on here, I haven't had too many great ideas for shows, and I really have something within myself that I like rhythms and cycles, but I don't like to be repetitive, so I didn't have anything new to say, so there was nothing really for me to share with people. But there is a few things that are on the burner for me, like that are like, I'm building up a few different ideas for everybody so that when I do come and do some shows, it will be like me back online for an extended period of time, you know, show after show. It's not that it's, you know, there's show and tell time, and there's like finding the thing that you would like to show to people. And it has something to do with my new spirit animal. So maybe y'all could guess. You could all guess if you want now or maybe later or whatever. I found my new spirit animal. And I quite literally mean spirit animal. It has something to do with spirits. And it's very, very interesting animal. That actually, due to science, they've qualified something that I have been talking about for a very, very long time, that the whole of humanity is kind of discounts and says I don't know what I'm talking about, but it will verify that all of my other earlier works on ingestion principles of certain types of substances verifies very wholeheartedly and truly to a very high degree. But it's good to see y'all. What up, Chrono? Yeah, no goddesses, Daniel Benson. I've been fresh out of them. I've been Daniel Drury, excellent, man. Reza, the weather has improved to the point where I can just come out with a scarf and I don't have to have a hat and I'm outside. So that's nice. Got back to the 60s. It was in the 30s for a little bit, which was no fun. Oh, Taria Silvers, yeah. Taria in half an hour, yeah, probably because I'm online, so I multiplied the tenaciousness of energy and the amplitude of things online, so we change a few things that way, huh? But I don't know how that works. Magnetism and electricity, how's that shit work? What up, Reza Maradi? Electric Tile, I thank you for always all you had to do was send it up here, and I got you. I have some interesting stories. I mean, not too deep, but maybe I'll save that for another broadcast about DMT and some things. Unstance, good to see you, man. But Electric Tile, yeah, always encouraging me to come back on here. So, Yeah, this was more for everybody else because a few people wanted me to come back on live and do a show. So you just I'm gonna do a show real soon. I'll ask everybody here ahead of time to do me a favor. Whenever you watch my old videos, comment beneath with basically what I need to put in the tags. Okay, so you would comment like, you listen to the video and you hear me say a couple key ideas that like, hey, if somebody was looking up on YouTube the things I was talking about, put that in order and then just put commas so I can highlight it and put it into the tag section, because I don't tag any of my videos. So this is why my audience is as small as it is, because I just record this shit and then it's on here. And I have a very limited number of tags and things on my videos. So if y'all want to help this information, whatever I'm doing with all my other cool videos, whenever you watch those, again, whatever the keywords are, some interesting things I might say, put that in your comment with commas so I can highlight it and put it in the tag section. And so that everybody else, whenever they're looking for it, can find it. Because I'm horrible with the internet and computer. I'm way too old for this digital stuff, man. What up, Steven Skinner? Wow, thank you, man. I really appreciate that. That's really cool. Steven Skinner. Yeah. Reza Maradi. I don't know Rex at Leak Project, but I would assume he thinks he's God. Rex Mundi, the double God, yeah. I'm sure I'd get along with him. I never heard of, you know, I know the Leak Project slightly, but I don't know of that person specifically. But yeah, Steven Skinner, the best time to listen to me is at night. I wish I could divide up my videos properly, so for, you know, people want the different levels of what I'm talking about, of if I'm going to be like an gregarious, nonsensical asshole, or if I'm going to be like precise, or if I'm going to be just bizarre, that we could kind of level these things off, because you're going to get something different out of all of my videos. But always there's levels of and nuggets of information and truth and things that are kind of jammed up here, or actually in my body somewhere, which is how the memories really work. And so in all of the videos there's a lot of that, even if I'm babbling on in Babylon with the weirdness. Electric Towel, how many of my followers have their own channel, haven't been enlightened by you? I don't know, man. I really don't know. I mean, there's a few people that I know have channels now. I don't know that it has anything to do with me. I mean, it'd be really cool if they do. I would assume there's a couple people have said something specifically. And I've seen, you know, not specifically because of me, but maybe. There's a few people that I know that like earlier was like, man, I would like to start a channel, but I don't know how to get in front of a camera and say shit. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'll ask that in my next video. What's up, Torrens Garden? I haven't seen you in a long time. Daniel Benson, does it appear that I'm reversing in physical age? You know, maybe. I go through these, you know, you got to go through these waves and cycles of things. Torrin, you said you got a drive for knowledge, but you don't know what will benefit you best and what you want to do that benefits all of the universe, because that's your true identity. I dig it. I'll dip into that concept a little bit, because there's 5 or 6 videos recently that I wanted to do, but I was ill prepared to speak on it at the time. Like, I had a couple jump off points, but I just wasn't feeling the motivation or the inspiration to speak about it. But that's one of the concepts, is that people get involved in this concept of spirituality in the sense that the universe is going to provide for them, or the universe is, as if they're speaking about the universe as if it's God. You know, the way that people speak about God is if it's something outside of them. But then you say this really interesting thing, that the universe is in you, right? So then there's really nothing ever to fear or have anxiety about. Yet, there's the strange part is when we look around us, we see a lot of strange things and occurrences in the world, and we say, are we responsible for everything? Is it I alone that is responsible for that car accident across the street? Am I alone responsible for everything that's occurring? And that becomes the split into saying, is it just me that's shining light? Or is it, you know, because you're listening to me, but am I you? And then we could get into the Mayan principles and things, and there seems to be this way of that I like to try to attempt to explain it to people, to say, have as good of a life as you possibly can, because if we all do live each other's lives, then whenever I get into your life, on your timeline, in your body, hopefully it's fucking awesome. So do whatever is good for you, so that way when I'm living in your life, you know, I'll be living like you did. And I think that's the solution to most things, which becomes, people misinterpret that and become neurotic, narcissistic in a bad way, because I've spoken at length about narcissism being a good thing, but they become so internalized and internally focused that they find themselves to be subject to their own internal environment. And if your internal environment isn't already healthy, then your internal thoughts and your internal physical body and all of this, then you're unhealthy to begin with. So I wouldn't want that anyway. So a lot of people need to look outside of themselves, literally look out here to notice things to improve upon in their own mind. Because when you go a little deeper, what's outside of you is your own mind. You live inside of your mind, but your brain is calculating it. So cleaning up the, you know, be self-focused, but if you don't know how to be, you know, a lot of people are introverts and then a lot of people are extroverts. A lot of people are so self-identified that they're blind to the world. These are the two principles of up the ladder, down the ladder, masculine, feminine, introvert, extrovert, and it's about balancing those things, because a lot of people say, oh no, God's that, or God's inside, and people are so internalized that they have actually no enjoyment with the outside world, but the outside world is giving you enjoyment, the interaction with it. So there's a lot, you know, that's one of the prime things in a lot of my talks that I get into, is that internal, external, introversion, extroversion of complexities of thoughts and environments that you know, build upon each other like a fountain. Wow, Ray Nava, thank you. That's crazy, man. It's the best channel on YouTube. I appreciate that. I really never know what to do with that, because I grew up not knowing how to take a compliment. I don't know. I'm not sure. Like, thank you. That's a wonderful, magical statement. I think it to myself oftentimes. I'm like, you know, nobody's putting the shit out here that I am, but I also, at the other side of it, I balance it out by saying nobody could hear what I'm saying. Like, there's a certain amount of people. It's kind of I can't walk into a, you know, it's like you can't go to the party and start talking about this shit. People ain't trying to get down on this. If you out drinking, people ain't trying to hear this. I mean, some people are, but if you smoking, you can't get to, you know, there's always these things, different kinds of places, different kind of environments, and the internet is just one colossal minefield of fuckery that, you know, people find it when they do, and it will fit into your consciousness when it should. And so I'm a space and time holder for what I say. When I say it, it's done. It's on the internet. It's done. And then y'all can find it whenever you do. And so that was only for a long time. I didn't really tag my videos and do the things. But if everybody wants to upgrade consciousness for everybody else, start letting me know how I can improve this channel by putting tags on and because I don't know what to put. The internet is separate from me. I mean, like, I'm broadcasting myself through it, but it's separate to me in the sense, like, I'm not like you can't ask a baker to build you a car, put it that way. You can't ask the map maker to tell you exactly what the flowers smell like, you know? Is that Chrono the benefit of making an altar? Well, altar will alter your course. So an altar is basically akin to think of a ship, and think of the idea, and think of a tattoo. Think of what the captain holds on to on a ship. It's basically a compass, and it steers it. And an altar is akin to doing the same thing. An altar is alteration of consciousness. It alters your course or your path. So magic is neither good or bad, or it's indifferent. But you can steer it towards something that, like, hey, I'd like to go over there right now. So it just gives you better handling of the ship. You can get on a ship and put your sails up, and you'll be out to sea forever. You might end up in an island, you might not. You might have an adventure, who knows? Fun times nonetheless. But at least with the with the compass, with the steering wheel to the ship, that's what an altar does, because it allows you to then take your focus and stare into the, like, that's what I want. So that's the benefit to it. The downfall to it, see, there always is a downfall. It's not even a downfall. I don't want to use the wrong word here for you. But the negative trait is, well, then you miss the whole other thing going on. If you focus too hard on one thing, you don't see the journey, right? So there's got to be a happy balance in between, like, steering the ship and being the captain, and also, you know, being part of the whole of life. And so one of the greatest teachers on magic and the occult works, Manly Hall, that I've spoke about, he says, here's all the kinds of magic you can use, and here's why I don't use them. And I somewhat agree. And I've said this many times, that once you start purposing your position and your workings, you're kind of you go to that, and specifically in that alone. Good, bad, and different, but it's like staring at that one thing and then missing the whole show. And that's a lot of people become too hyper focused, hyper aware of one tiny little thing, and then other people are just like, they're lost, and they're looking at everything and like, I don't know what to do. Well, there's a focus right there. See, it's just a matter of balancing out those two things: the micro focus and the macro focus, the telescope and the microscope. Taking the balance of where your vision sits, like me looking at this versus me looking out there, me reading a book and ingesting versus me speaking. What up, Aryan Rams? Electric Tile, the retrovert, I like it. Oh my goodness, Ami Magunia is on here. She Myers-Briggsed it right now. What are you doing? Thank you for showing up, Ami. So anybody doesn't know, that's you should thank that person right there for me not being the clueless, aimless, wandering, homeless retard that's just babbling off into the brooks of the wilderness about nothing. The only reason you all can hear me speak is because of her. So you should thank her. Don't thank me. Torrens Garden, what do I think about Illuminati Congo? Illuminati Congo, I don't know who, is that a person? Are you talking about that, I think I know who you're talking about if you're talking about a person. Go further on that. Illuminati Congo? I think I know who you're talking about. Robert Swaza, what's up? Zach Chrono, thanks, man. I appreciate that. Quasi Ra, what's going on, man? Quasi Ra, did you throw that into the grand overmind, and then I had to speak it? Because there's some people that are the pathway to speaking things, and other people that think it. So that's interesting. Daniel Drury, how do you overcome your own sexual repression? Wow, it depends on what aspects of your sexuality or sexuality as a whole you think you're repressed about. I don't know. Stick a finger up your butt. I don't fucking know, man. That's a really big question. I mean, I'll happily address it, but man, everybody's got different kinks, and everybody's got different like kinks in the hose, right? And everybody's got other repressive things that they're not okay with. You know, some because of odor. Most of it is odor oriented, like as our natural specific.
Hey bro, can you wash my bike for like 2 minutes?
I got you, man, of course. Cheers. So yeah, it's mainly due to odor and order. Odor gives you the correct orders of your aura, and your aura is always connected steadfastly to the things that are most harmonic and rhythmic within your situation. And most people suppress the like, does it smell right to you? Like for me, if a chick doesn't smell right, that's dead, game over. Like I can't fuck with it. So when you heighten your senses is your sense, your scent is your senses, and your highest scent. So a lot of sexual orientation towards the things that you're attracted to and not attracted to are predicated. The primary essence of you is what you smell. It's the center of your face, it's the center of your brain, there's no filters, and it tells you everything you need to know. So get more in contact with the smell of things. Once you can do that, because I've said this many times as well, look at the monkeys. They say, hear no evil, speak no evil, and see no evil. They don't say nothing about smelling because you can be lied to, you can hear wrong, you can speak wrong, you can see wrong, but you can never smell wrong. Smell will always tell you the truth. There's nothing you can do about it. There's no filter. There's no filter to your consciousness. Your eyes will filter your consciousness. Your ears will filter your consciousness. Your taste can be altered. Your words can be altered. Your smell never will. If I shit on a plate and hand it to you, 100% of the time the same thing will happen. Your smell will tell you exactly what that is. You'd have to be a very special kind of person to like pick that piece of shit up and eat it. Yeah, Electric Tau, I want you, the falling into place is interesting, but I also wonder if that's just one of the misrepresentations of language, as everything's been put around backwards. We should be springing into place. Flowers spring during the spring into place, which is the new year. It springs into place. It falls out of place. Into a place, yes, but not the one that's the most high. It's not the, you spring up, you fall down. They're both fine, but once again, in the language of up and down the ladder, you say you fall in love, you fall into place. No, I think you spring into love. I think you spring into things. And so I think that's just a little curiosity of language that we get into. What up, Alice Ray? Well, thanks for joining in the curious mind of the curious overmind of the world. If you think it, I can speak it. Brand Zen, good to see your face rather than some other image. Good to see you. Torrens Garden, Illuminati Congo. Yes, I know who he is. 95% of what he says I really, really dig. But there's some antiquated ideas he has on some things, which include using... See, this is, but again, this is for most spiritual teachers out there. They're using a playbook and a guidebook of someone before them. He does a lot of original work, and it's amazing shit. Like, I follow him on now I know exactly what you're talking about. I follow him on Instagram, and I see a lot of the stuff he puts out. I know he's written some books. I dig his vibe, but I don't know what he thinks about the earth being flat, because I do see him putting out information that is predicated upon some old principles and some old paradigms through a Freemasonic, ritualistic, heliocentric methodologies of tricking the mind into believing that you're not the source of all things and that we're following the sun through a galaxy, which just is plainly, obviously, absolutely without question untrue.
Thanks, man.
Of course, man. Cheers.
Have a good night.
Yeah, you too. So when I find high levels of knowledge in all ways, it's all going to be self-reflective. It's all beneficial. But if your paradigm still is in a heliocentric model, then you're still looking outside of yourself for information. And then if you have to find it in some ancient, antiquated book, it's a dead book. It's not a living book. You're the living book, and the living book is always based upon where you are as the principality of your own existence within, like, on the earth. Here you are. Boom. You're the center of it. You're the center of your own earth. You're not spinning, flying through fucking outer space, trying to catch the sun that exploded out of some evolutionary-esque mindset. There's no evolving. The only thing you're doing is getting back to self, which is inside of you and whatever. It's not. You can't think that. You can't use old books. You can use old books the same way you can use gematria to re-verify principles. You can re-verify them, but you can't use them as the status quo. You can't point to them and say that's the truth. You can only look at it for yourself and say, hey, is this relevant to my existence? And thinking that we're flying through outer space behind a hot ball of fire, 92 million miles away is utterly, profoundly, without question, idiotic, silly, and it makes you follow another leader. It means whoever gave you those principles, which means you believe in the tongue of NASA and the liars within that order of silence, of ignorance, of displacement of energy to succubus off of the living energy of humans. No one that is human is in NASA. Because if you're human, you're living, and if you work for a corporation, you're part of a dead world, and NASA is a corporation, just as the United States government is, just as the Zimbabwean government, just as Switzerland is. It doesn't matter what the corporate entity is, it's all a dead world to get you to follow along a leader, to give up more of your self-righteousness, your self-value, your self-worth, the knowledge that you have in every single cell of your body. And so, when you can find that for yourself, then there's nothing else that's needed. You can live and die happily, and realizing that dying is only to split yourself back to yourself, so you can just have more of yourself running around the illusion that you're creating. Yeah, Robert Swaza, the spirals of the spiraling energy around vortexes. When you have 1,000 people or 10,000 people walking around a big ball, or thinking that we're walking around the Earth ball, we're giving energy to the enigma of Earth, or if we're spinning around the sun, then we're giving energy to the sun. And if we're walking around Saturn's cube, like the black Saturnian box that they walk around in Kaaba, meaning the cube of Saturn, or if you're part of the Cabal or the Kaaba, means you're still revolving around somebody else's system that has nothing to do with you. So it really removes self from the equation, and you are all that exists. But yeah, back to the spinning of the whirling dervish is what you're looking for. The whirling dervish weren't looking for an external god; they were spinning on their own axis. Their axis mundi is right there in the top of the skull, just as in your taint, and they'd spin around that and pull energy into themselves. And by spinning around like a child in a circle, you pull energy into yourself. You can also spin the other way and give people energy, but to walk around a cube, or walk around the earth, or walk wherever you are and think that we're spinning around the sun, you're giving energy to something that isn't you. Yeah, Daniel Drury, sense and sensual. Yeah. So yeah, if you can't sit there and be like, what are you? Shouldn't you be doing something? Shouldn't you be in action? So when you find yourself meditating and people are like, what the fuck? because you're like, oh man, he or she is within themselves. People don't like that. What up, giving a flying sheep? Is that Chrono? I'll get to that a little later. Yeah, Electric Tower. I mean, you know, we play the shape game all day. You know, like I think it's helpful for people to find that balance, to make sure that what they're standing on is not like causing their mind chaos. But beyond that, like, okay, once you get out of your mind and out of your body, you can go to different places. You could go to a place that's square. You could go to a place that's circular. You go to a place that's a sphere. You could go a place that's you're inside of a hollow earth. You could go anywhere you want. But it just so happens that there seems to be what appears for everyone that's using their senses that we've been given with inside of this spacesuit that we live inside of, on top of this thing, a stability of saying we're on top of the table, walking around on the table, and we can go anywhere we want from there. Above the table, we could create some circular spinning objects flying through the sky if we wanted. I mean, apparently the sun is doing that, but is it spherical? Is it flat? Is it actually light bulbs? Is it getting changed all the time? Who knows? Like, you don't really know. But maybe you could get out of body and go to the moon. Maybe you could get out of body and go to the sun and see what goes on there. And so back to realizing by cleansing every single atom in your body, you can get a better sense of self, and then remove your spirit from your body and go to those places that you think exist out there and see what the sun actually is, and see what the moon actually is, and see what those lights in the sky are that you'd call Saturn or Pleiades, and see if those aren't just portals to other dimensions. But there's no, even if I absolutely knew, even if I did, how would I want you to or think you should believe me? I don't care. It's not, it'll benefit you only if you go there. Yeah, Electric Tau. See, the thing about all perspectives having truth, yes, all perspectives do have truth, but there is a level of, I mean, you know, there is something absolute. Consciousness, awareness, and existence. Absolutely, I'm inside of my body. Absolutely, you're watching me through this thing. People like to play that game, and it's disharmonizing. Because if I say, well, no, the only thing that exists is perspective, then why does anybody do anything? Then everybody should just go ahead and start floating. That's your perspective, right? Well, you can't float. Your perspective is you're driving a Ferrari, but I'm literally looking at you walking down the street. It's not a, you know, people like to play games with semantics and syntax because language is so befuddling. But there is, if we do not speak and we still look around, we can still observe that there is a car there. There still is a sound. There still is my body. There still is this light. There still is this what we call a building. But all those words get pushed to the side. But the reality still holds truth. Physical reality, even though it is what you'd call in the dead world or the shadow realms, as it is only an echo of your mind, it still exists. If I stab you with a sword, it still hurts and you still bleed. There's no, you know. So there's that I think, you know, even if we were at a high levels of awareness, we still have to speak to people that are 99% here, living in what they would call the physical matrix and believing that all there is physical reality and the mind doesn't exist, and we all developed out of some single atom that exploded into space and created some worms that became this ball that we live on that's spinning through the thing, and then the fish jumped out the sea and shit out a turkey leg that then became the king of England, that then becomes somehow you sitting here going, what the fuck is going on? Like, there still is some sense of what we'd call reality or physical semblance that we deal with on a day-to-day basis. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I dig it. Yeah, I dig, you know, Electric Tsar, like, we're on the same page with most things, but yeah, I think that for most people, what they need to come to terms with and have a reality with is physical reality is truth. You know, it's cold when it's cold, it's warm when it's warm, it's dark when it's dark, it's sunny when it's sunny. That's how it works. Now, could I build up enough melanin and melatonin and light within my body to be able to dream or to walk around when it's dark, pitch black, and produce biophotonic units out of my eyeballs? Yes, that's absolutely true. So my perspective would be different in that sense. But it still doesn't change the perspective of the 99% of the people that are living in the world. It still wouldn't allow me to vibrate to the point where I could walk through a wall. I mean, my spirit can. My physical body, that's a little far behind. That's still living in the shadow realm. And I'm not talking to people that are spirits only. You know, because if I'm talking to people that are spirits only, I'll check you on the astral realm and we can hang out there. But talking to people here on this reality, I have to pick up a phone to talk to you. I have to pick up this computer to talk to you. It's just how it works. I can't telekinesis you. So this is like using the poison, which is all the digital realm, to be the panacea. So using the digital realm to convince people that the physical realm is only the illusory secondary modulation of mental stimulation that then creates the shadow world that exists inside of Eve, inside of the evening, inside of the mother's womb. We're inside of the mother's womb, and the spirit is what produces the quality of life that we have. So, yeah, y'all, as usual, hope you enjoyed this little broadcast. I'm gonna go watch some of the basketballing game, and we'll see what's going on in Bowell's world and all of the people that are watching the collegiate finals. See if I can give them some lights. The collegiate national championships, and yeah. If y'all are so gracious enough, feel free to send me some tokens of your appreciation via the currency thing. That's always beneath, or it should be. And always like and subscribe if you have not. And if you like this or love it or appreciate it, feel free to share it with your friends. And like I was telling everybody earlier, feel free to let me know in the videos that you watched of my others to write down keywords so I can put that in the tags so that other people can find this information if you find it helpful. And if you don't, you know, as always, fuck off, eat a dick, whatever. Good luck on your journey and your path, and hopefully you find things that do inspire you. Yeah, I'll be getting on here probably more soon. As I've told you, I've got some cool things in store about my spirit animal that verifies a lot of the things that people used to go, nah, you bullshit, and that's not true. But it actually has to do with a spirit. It has to do with an animal in nature that I'll use to be able to verify everything I've been saying about a couple ideas that people just haven't quite advanced through the alchemical qualities of what spirit and the spirit molecule and the spirit of self is, that you know, makes us move and dance and participate in nature and the process of nature. And a natural process produces spirit. So cool, guys. I'm just gonna check out your last couple of comments here, see if anything. Daniel Benson, last time I eat meat every single day, 5 meals a day. I go and slaughter the cattle in front of me. If somebody's walking by me, I'm eating. I eat mental meat. Selena Newman, you missed a whole broadcast, but soon we'll do this again. So cheers, y'all. Thanks for joining. And obviously, thumbs up is great. We'll talk soon.